Hey Sam, what is critical thinking?
Nick, we gotta stop bothering each other with these silly questions. I'm busy.
Well, I'm serious. Everybody's always talking about how important critical thinking is.
Critical thinking is just what anyone who disagrees with you needs more of.
Well, ha ha. Very funny. Well, I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Well, you know, the word critical has the same root as words like critic or criticize or criteria and so on. If you put me on the spot, I would say critical thinking is what a critic does when they critique something. I mean, what else could it be, right?
That's great, but what does a critic do exactly?
Well, a critic evaluates something according to criteria or standards. Which ones, I guess, depends on what you're talking about.
That's awfully broad. It means you could think critically about just about anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, anything that could be evaluated, sure.
So you're telling me you could think critically about acting or popcorn makers or ninja blenders?
Ninja blenders? Yeah, I guess if you had a criteria on which to evaluate them, sure. But to me, a blender is just a blender.
Didn't you take a critical thinking course in college?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what was that about?
Well, logic, broadly speaking.
Oh, logic, broadly speaking. Well, what is logic anyways? I'm not sure I know.
Well, the professor said that logic examines the principles of inference and argument.
Okay, you lost me there, Sam. I think we should take Sparky for a walk.
What makes you say that?
What makes me say that? Well, it's getting dark outside and I'd like to go while I can still see.
Well, that's an example of an inference. It's when you weigh the considerations and come to a conclusion.
This critical thinking course was all about conclusions.
Well, it was about when is a conclusion justified? What is the difference between a good inference and a bad one? When does one statement follow from another?
I thought you said critical thinking was about evaluating something according to standards.
Right. And this particular course was about the standards for evaluating inferences and arguments.
Okay, so what standards are you talking about?
The standards of logic, things like consistency, relevancy, adequacy, coherency was another one.
And this is important because?
Well, inferences are involved in thinking about, well, just about anything, really. Nick, what do you want more than anything in life?
A new Lexus.
Oh, Nick, you have got to stop thinking about getting a new Lexus.
Well, I'd like to be happy and healthy and be able to provide for you and Sparky.
Oh, that is much better. Yeah. And others want other things too, like helping people or being famous or powerful or thrills. I mean, you name it, right?
Sure. The point being?
Whatever you want, you have to figure out how to get it. You have to come to conclusions and make decisions. Like, if you think about it, getting a Lexus might not be a step in the right direction towards getting these other things that you really want.
Oh, I don't have to take a course to know that, Sam. Can we head out with Sparky?
Well, people make mistakes in their thinking, just like they make mistakes in arithmetic.
Do you have an example of a mistake?
Yeah, 2 and 2 make 5.
Ha ha. Mistakes in like what you were talking about.
Well, let's see. People are misled by irrelevant considerations, like emotional appeals. Or if something reinforces one of their opinions, they may attach more weight to it. They also might think the more popular an opinion, the more likely it is to be true. That's why some politicians obsess about their polling numbers or even make them up. We all make mistakes. We overlook possibilities. Exercise may make you healthy, but a healthy person is more apt to exercise. So, what is the cause and what is the effect?
Speaking of exercise, Did you see where Sparky got off to?
You know, if you come to a conclusion based on false information, it doesn't do you any good. Equally as bad as coming to a false conclusion based on true information. Critical thinking is about avoiding both of them.
So Samantha defines critical thinking as what happens when we evaluate something on specific criteria. One important thing we can evaluate is the thinking used in coming to conclusions.